Hi everybody, it's Nikki here and welcome to a bookish video. So today's video is going to be my 5-star predictions 2020 update, plus also my 2021 5-star predictions. So back in February 2020, I made a video very similar to this where I chose 10 books that I thought that when I would read them, I would give them all 5 stars. Now, looking back, I will say that I think I went on more of what other people had thought of these books rather than reading the synopsis for myself and really thinking about what I enjoy in a book. So, sorry to say, but only one of the books that I've read has received that 5-star status. So that just goes to show how wrong I was with most of these books. Now I will say there was 3 books out of the 10 that I did not read so far. The first of those is The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. Now this one I am so upset with myself that I didn't get around to, because I really do think this is one of those books that I will give 5 stars. Because it's got pirates in it, and I do know that I love pirate stories. I like cheeky, chappy stories, and pirates tend to be those. I either like my men being cheeky, chappy, or moody and broody kind of thing. So yeah, I really do think I will like this, but I haven't got around to reading it yet. I think it might be because I know I don't have the 3rd book that is already out for this series, and I know that there is a 4th book coming, but we haven't heard hide nor hair of it about when it's going to be released. So it's not a series that I can binge read or finish anytime soon because it's still being written, and I only have the first 2 books that are out at the moment, and I haven't purchased a 3rd one yet, but I do want to read the first one before I purchase that 3rd book. So yeah, but watch out for this one, it will be returning. The next book that I haven't read is Scythe by Neil Shusterman, and I think this one I haven't started because I've been quite focused on getting quite a few of my other series finished during 2020, so I didn't want to start a new series or a new trilogy as this one is the start of, so I think that's why I haven't started on this one, but it is one that I do want to read in 2020, in 2021, because it is on my 21 books I'd like to read in 2021, so definitely going to read this one this year at some point. And then the 3rd one that I didn't get around to reading was The Monster Who Wasn't by T.C. Shelley. This is a middle grade, and I thought I would get to this during one of the Believeathon rounds, but it didn't fulfill any of the prompts that a Believeathon had, so I never got to read it. I never got to pick it up, and yeah, it just never seemed to fulfill any prompts or anything. Or if it did fit the prompt, then I either didn't get to it, or another book that I really, really wanted to read got there first. Do you know what I mean? So it got pushed back and pushed back. But yeah, I didn't get to this one either. So those were the 3 books that I didn't get to read. Now let's go to the books that I did read and go from the lowest rating to the highest. So one of the lowest rated ones I read was a book that I actually don't own anymore, and that was Wonder by I will put it on the screen below. But this was a book about a young boy who had a facial disability, and he ends up going to a normal school instead of a special needs school, which I completely agree. Disabled children should be in mainstream school. School should be for everybody. And we should just make extra things for the disabled children. I mean, if we can make school specific, it doesn't, anyway, I'm not going to get into it. But I thought that I would give this a 5 stars because I'd seen so many other people love and adore this book. So I was going more on other people's opinions of it rather than actually looking at it and thinking, is this something that I would really care about, really love, really get involved in? And unfortunately, it just wasn't. It didn't pull at my heartstrings like I expected it to. I didn't feel sorry for this poor boy in the story. I didn't feel sorry for him at all. I didn't feel pity for him at all. I kind of respected him, and I kind of was a bit in admiration of him because he was so strong a character, and he was, you know, he wore his disability like an armor, and yeah, it didn't pull on my heartstrings like I expected it to. So I only ended up giving this a 3 stars, and it's already been unhauled. That's why I don't have it. So yeah, Wonder by the author. The next one, looking back, I think, yeah, this was definitely a 3 star for me, which I am really like not happy about. But it was Frostheart by Jamie Littler. Now, if I was to bump this up an extra star to 4 stars, it would only be because of the illustrations. The illustrations in this book are phenomenal, plus those frayed edges. Now, I will say that, funnily enough, Frostheart 2, Escape from Aurora, did get 5 stars. So I saw the potential in Frostheart, the first book, but it wasn't met until Frostheart 2, the second book. So I was kind of half right in that I predicted it would get a 5 stars. But the first book just fell slightly flat for me, just fell quite a bit behind of what I was expecting. We had this character here, sorry, I'm going in the dark, and I thought he was going to be so much more grumpier. Turns out he's not that grumpy. I mean, yeah, he was a bit miserable, but he wasn't like, I wanted him to be like really grumpy, you know? But he wasn't that grumpy at all. And I just felt like this slightly fell behind what I was expecting, but the second book definitely delivered. And I did give Frostheart 2 5 stars, as I say. So yeah, I'm kind of calling this a success, but kind of not. The next book that I was deeply disappointed didn't get 5 stars because I highly anticipated this one, and I had built this one up in my head for so long that I think it kind of felt that it kind of was almost harmed by the fact that I'd built it up so much in my head. And that was The Binding by Bridget Collins. I had built this up so much in my head that this was going to be such an amazing book. This is a book within a book. It's the story of a man who finds his own story in a book, like his own memories in a book. And it was going to be a whole thing in my head. Turns out the actual book was not quite what I expected. I did enjoy it, but not as much as I was hoping it to be. And so this also got 3 stars for me. I do intend to reread this with a little less expectation. But yeah, that's why I'm keeping hold of it. And I keep hold of Frostheart because the second book was a 5 stars. So the only time I keep a 3-star book on my shelves is if I plan to A, reread it, or B, it's part of a series and I rate the whole series as higher than a 3 stars. So that's how I decide whether to keep a book or not. But yeah, I do want to reread this, and then if it still gets a 3 stars, I will sadly be unhauling it. It's a beautiful, beautiful book, but yeah, it sadly did not quite live up to expectations. Now, one book that I gave 4 stars to, but looking back, I'm thinking now it's probably more like a 3, and that was Fairy Tales for Millennials by Bruno Vincent. This was like a modern retelling of fairy tales, and I will say that you really got to go into this with your sense of humour open to a lot. It was a little bit cheeky, and at some point you're like, oh, can you joke about that? So it was a bit tongue-in-cheek. So looking back, I think it's more like a 3-star, but at the time I gave it a 4-star. Another book that I gave 4 stars with, but to be honest, I sludged through this, to be honest. It took me so long to read that I ended up having to pull it over into the next month. And so it took me 2 months to read it. And then I had to finish it by listening to the audiobook. I have never had a book take me so long to read like that. But it was Nevernight by Jade Kristoff. I was so shocked. I thought I would love this because this has a sassy young girl in it. We have a brooding man in it. We had fighting in it. Why didn't I love it? I don't know. I don't know. Was it the footnotes? Not really. They didn't really bother me. Was it the writing style? Kind of. I don't know. I like the cheekiness of it. But I think, do you know what it actually was? It was just that I don't think anything happened. Like, the action in here was very minimal. I don't feel like there was any big fighting scenes. I didn't feel like there was any big battle. I didn't feel like there was a big dark enemy that we had to fight against. It was more underhandedness and sly tactics and espionage, and it was a bit more subtle. And so because of that, because there wasn't much plot to drive it along, I struggled to get through this. I did. I enjoyed the story and I enjoyed the characters, and the writing was okay. And it got 4 stars because I do feel like this does have a potential. But yeah, I was shocked at how slow I got through this because I didn't have the drive to pick it up. I was like, oh, what shall I read today? Anything except Nevernight. And that's how I felt. I felt like, oh, that can wait. It's fine. I'm not missing out. I didn't feel like I had to get back to the story. So that's why it took me so long. So it has a potential to get good. And I will be moving on to the 2nd and 3rd book. But yeah, it needs to get quicker for me. I feel it needs to move a bit quicker in the plot line. And I'm hoping book 2 will do that. But I haven't rushed out to purchase book 2 yet. So that goes to show you. But yeah, I kind of enjoyed it. It was a 4 stars. The next book, I loved this book and I want to reread it again this October for Halloween because I think reading this at Halloween is going to give it so much more atmosphere and so much more spookiness. And that was Winterwood by Shay Earnshaw. Now, this was so close to a 5 stars, so close. It fell slightly short, but it is a high 4 stars in my opinion. Loved this. I think actually, because I didn't read this at the right time in the year, maybe that's why it fell down. But I am going to reread it this October. And I think that if I read it in October with all that spooky vibes, I think it's going to push up to a 5 stars on a reread because it was just phenomenal. I loved it. I loved the spookiness. I loved the twists in the story. I just loved the characterizations. The whole atmosphere and vibes of this story really grasped hold of me and I thoroughly enjoyed this. And as I say, gonna reread it for Halloween and I am almost positively sure that it's going to be a 5 star at that point. I think I just read it when it was bright and sunny and I just didn't feel like I got the atmosphere quite the way it has the potential for. So sometimes I think books can fall victim to the right time that you're reading them, so which is how you're going to enjoy them or not. But yeah, absolutely love this. 4 stars. And the final book that I read for this 5-star predictions was the one book out of the 10 that I put on this list, and out of the 7 that I actually read, this was the one that got 5 stars. It's Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I knew this one would give me 5-star vibes because this was one of those books that I'd looked at the synopsis and thought, you know what, you sound amazing. I listened to the hype about this from other people, but I also listened to my own inner voice that said, that just sounds awesome. And when you know what you love in books, it makes it a little bit easier to see what kind of books you're going to enjoy. And I'm learning that. As the years going on, I am beginning to learn what I do love and what I don't love. And this is everything that I love. We have a man who is kind of like working in a big library in a mythical place. Well, not in a mythical place. He's like a little orphan who's been raised in this library, and he knows and reads books and everything. And he's always known about this mystical land called Weep, and nobody else really knows about it. It's the name he's given it. And then he gets a chance to go and find Weep, and it blew me away. I cannot wait to get to Muse of Nightmares. I really, really cannot wait. I felt like the author was literally painting me a beautiful picture for me to admire. That's how it felt. Reading the words in this book was just like looking at a beautifully detailed painting, and I loved it. I was looking up fan art for these characters in the books, and I was looking at all sorts of artwork and stuff for it, and it blew me away. Absolutely loved and adored this. My jaw dropped at the ending. It was just so amazing. Loved it. And cannot wait to move on to Muse of Nightmares, which is the second book in the duology. So yeah, that was my 5 stars, my only 5 stars for my 5-star 2020 predictions. After going through 2020 and realizing what books I would give 5 stars, what books I didn't give 5 stars, what books am I going to predict for 2021 that I'm going to give 5 stars? Well, I'm putting The Lies of Locke Lamora back on here because I am determined to read it this year, and I am so positive, almost guaranteed, to give this 5 stars. It's a pirate book. I want to read it. I need to read it. So I'm putting The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch back on the 5 stars prediction. Then I'm sticking with the pirate themes. I'm going with Ship of Shadows by Maria Kuznia. This is a middle grade, and look at that cover. It's stunning. And this is basically about a young girl who dreams of life of magic and adventure. A mysterious ship arrives in her Spanish harbour city, crewed by a band of ruthless women. Another thing I love in my books: sassy, ruthless women, cunning, conniving, intelligent women. That's what I love to read about. Alea knows it sailed right out of a legend, and it wants her. But life aboard the Ship of Shadows is more than even she bargained for. It will take all of Alea's strength and skill to gain the trust of her fellow pirates and discover what they are risking everything to find. It's an adventure. It's pirates. It's sassy women. I am going to love this. I know that I am. It's got so many tick boxes for me. And plus, as well, this was gifted to me by one of my subscribers. So thank you very much. My next 5-star prediction, and not just because everybody else has given it 5 stars. I honestly do believe, reading the synopsis this time, that I am going to love it. And that's Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton, another gift from a subscriber. In fact, the same person who gave me that. So this one is about Fortuna Sworn, the last of her kind. Her brother disappeared 2 years ago, leaving her alone. She hides among humans, and she catches the eye of a powerful fairy. He makes no attempt to hide that he desires her, and in exchange for her, he offers something irresistible. So she leaves behind her safe existence, ready to step back into a world of creatures and power. And it soon becomes clear that she may not have bargained with her heart, but with her very life. Fairies, lust, romance. I am so here for it. A woman searching for someone she loves, she cares about. She'll do anything to get them back, with the help of a dark, broody, possibly not very nice, morally grey male. But a romance is going to ensue anyway. Just all, give me all, give me all. I love me some romance. I hope it's smutty. I believe that it is kind of romance smut. But yeah, a lot of people who like fantasy romances have loved this book. Becca from Becca and Her Books have loved it. Ashley from A Frolic Through Fiction has loved it. And I do believe, even though it's had massive reviews from other people, reading the synopsis, looking at the artwork for this, I just feel like I'm going to love it. It's going to be like The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, but more intense and more dynamic. I cannot wait to read it. So yeah, 5 stars for this, hopefully. The next one is Feathertide by Beth Cartwright. Look at that beautiful cover, and yes, you can see there's a mermaid tail there. And this one is about Maria, who's always known she was different. She was born covered in the feathers of a bird, but kept hidden in a crumbling house full of secrets and unanswered questions. Longing to discover the truth behind her origin, she goes in search of the father she's never met. Her curiosity leads her to the City of Murmurs, a place of mermaids and mystery, where jars of swirling mist are carried through the streets by the broken-hearted. And Maria will never forget what she finds there. This is an enchanting novel, perfect for fans of Erin Morgenstern's The Night Circus, which I loved, and Catherine Arden's The Bear and the Nightingale, which I've never read. But The Night Circus, I love Erin Morgenstern's writing. So from that, I'm thinking this is going to be that magical, that whimsical, that little bit strange kind of world. This jar of swirling mist that is carried by the heartbroken. What the hell? That's so intriguing. I'm so excited. And a city of mermaids and mystery called the City of Murmur. Oh, I'm just so many buzzwords for this. I feel like I am going to fall in love with this. I hope it's going to be as whimsical and magical and weird like Erin Morgenstern's writing that I am kind of expecting from this. But yeah, a girl, a secret, and a life-changing journey. That's what it says there on the front cover. So I am stoked for this, absolutely stoked. Last book that I'm putting on my 5-star predictions, because I have lowered the number of books that I'm putting on my 5-star predictions for this year, just to make sure that I definitely get to them. And because I just don't feel like I'm going to be as I don't feel that I'm going to be giving out so many 5 stars this year. That's not to say that I don't think I'm going to read amazing books. I do, but I'm going to be a little bit more finicky about which books I give 5 stars. But this one, when I saw it, be still my beating heart, because I fell in love with this book before I even read the synopsis. It's my Fairyloot edition of Kingdom of the Wicked by Kerry Maniscalco. Now, Kerry Maniscalco also wrote the Jack the Ripper series, not Jack the Ripper, Stalking Jack the Ripper series. And that's a series of hers that I would really like to get into. But this one is gorgeous. I mean, look at those sprayed edges. Like, it's phenomenal. And then you take off the dust jacket and it's got the picture of a man there. It's one of those books that's just stunning. And there's also artwork under the dust jacket and things like that. It's also signed. It's just Beautiful book. But anyway, what's it about? Two sisters, one murder. A quest for vengeance that will unleash hell itself. Yeah. Amelia and her twin sister Vittoria have been inseparable all their lives. As Strake, witches who exist secretly among humans, they know the dangers of drawing attention and work at their family's renowned Sicilian restaurant, avoiding notice and prosecution. But one night Vittoria doesn't come home, and it's not long before distraught Amelia discovers the body of her beloved twin, desecrated beyond belief. Devastated, Amelia vows to find her sister's killer and seek vengeance at any cost, even if it means calling upon a dark magic that has long been forbidden. Then Amelia meets Wrath, one of the wicked. I can imagine him in a dark suit and broody eyes and Princess of Hell she had been warned against since she was a child. Wrath claims to be on Amelia's side, tasked by his master with solving a series of murders on the island, of which Vittoria is the latest victim. But when it comes to the wicked, nothing is as it seems. Oh, this gives me the same vibes as Fortuna Sworn. We have a young girl with mystical powers, and she's trying to avenge her loved one, her sibling, and a dark, broody man who is kind of a bad boy is going to end up helping her, and they're going to fall in love. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. So yeah, this is another one. It says, whatever you do, you must never speak to the wicked. If you see them, hide. Once you've caught a demon prince's attention, he'll stop at nothing to claim you. They are midnight creatures born of darkness and moonlight, and they seek only to destroy. I am salivating for this book. I so need to get this on my TBR. I really do. I've been wanting to since I received it back in October, November of last year. And I just haven't put it on my TBR yet. What am I doing? Why am I not reading this? I so want to. So yes, this is my final 5-star prediction. So that is that. Let me just stack them all up for you. This is the stack of books that I reckon I will end up giving 5 stars to this year. There may be many more 5 stars on my reading wrap-ups, but these are 5 books that I think more 90% sure that I'm going to give 5 stars to. So, did you like any of these books? Have you read them? If you did, what did you think of them? Did you give a better rating or a lesser rating than I did? And have you read these books that I'm going to put on for my 2021 5-star predictions? And if you did, what did you think about those? Give me some of your opinions in the comment section down below. So thank you. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.